I'll call to order today's February 5th, 2025 Fishers Plan Unit Development Committee meeting. We do have a quorum to conduct business today. Welcome. We will start with our first agenda item, case number PUD-24-23, Bent Grass Marketplace. It's a request to approve site plan and architecture for an approximately 15,039 square foot multi-talent retail restaurant building located at 13682 Bent Grass Lane. And we have with the city, Christy Cashin, to present.
Yes, good evening. Christy Cashin, Senior Planner, the City of Fishers Planning Department. The project before you tonight is a multi-tenant retail restaurant building located at 13682 Bent Grass Lane in the Fishers Marketplace PUD. Architectural and development standards are listed in the Fishers Marketplace PUD ordinance number 070506. The petitioner is requesting to build a 15,039 square foot building that will house 8 tenant spaces on a 2.19 acre lot. The petitioner and their team filed a variance to allow a drive-through within less than 400 feet from the residential buildings that are nearby. The Board of Zoning Appeals approved this variance on January 27th of 2025. This site plan shows the drive-through stacking along the south and west side of the property, and with the menu board being on the west side and the pickup window being on the south side. Staff has worked with the petitioner to address all site plan and architectural requirements in the PUD, resulting in changes to the site layout, pedestrian connectivity, and added windows along the west elevation. This is the current landscape plan that includes standard landscape requirements as well as additional evergreens along the southeast property line that will provide a buffer for residents closest to the drive-through pickup window. Here is a look at the photometric plan. All exterior lighting meets the requirements of the city's UDO. The PUD's architectural development standards are included in the staff report and shown here. All applicable architectural standards have been met. The building is comprised of ephes, brick, stone, all in neutral colors, as well as window glazing and metal awnings. The eastern facade along Bent Grass Lane, or facing Bent Grass Lane, is 52% brick, 15% ephes, 31% glazing, and 2% cast stone. The western facade facing State Road 37 is comprised of 43% brick, 37% ephes, 13% glazing, and 7% cast stone. The southern facade is 40% brick, 46% ephes, 8% glazing, and 6% cast stone, and the northern is similar to the southern with 37% brick, 47% ephes, 11% glazing, and 5% cast stone. This is a look at the floor plan and the layout of the tenant spaces within the building. And here are some of the renderings of the building. The proposed building is located amongst a variety of commercial buildings shown in this slide, as well as townhomes to the north and multifamily residential to the east. Staff recommends the PUD committee approve the elevations as proposed and approve the site plan with the following condition: that all TAC comments are addressed during the ILP process and that signage will be approved with sign permits. And the petitioner is here too.
Thank you. We'll hear from the petitioner.
Good evening, Eric Gleisner with Civil Site Group, the civil engineer for the project. I'm here with the architect, Tim Cover, Studio 3 Design, as well as the developer, Rob Worsler with Worsler Realty Group. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to staff in helping us work through the process of the variance for the drive-through, as well as getting things up to par for this PUD committee meeting. They've been very helpful throughout the whole process, and we do really appreciate that. Christy did a great job outlining everything. I really don't have anything else to add. So in the interest of time and getting out here before this freezing rain hits us, I'm going to go ahead and let the architect talk a little bit about the architecture, and we'll go from there.
Hi, Tim Cover with Studio 3 Design, architect for the project. And Christy, I just hit the down arrow to our side. Ah, magic. All right. Just going to take a couple minutes to talk about the architecture. Again, Christy has really kind of mentioned most of the information about the building parameters, but basically we worked with staff to get the architecture in line and compliance with all the requirements. We drew upon the materials of the buildings around us as far as the exterior finish systems, brick, metal awnings, just really to touch on the fabric of the area but not repeat the design of any one building. With that, we basically developed this building as four-sided. Doesn't matter what direction you come from. The building is finished on all elevations, has windows wrapping around all elevations, and we broke up the brick and the exterior finish system to, in my opinion, provide interest with the building, kind of get away from monotony that you sometimes get with retail developments. In plan as well as elevation, the building steps in and out as well as vertically, has steps with the parapets, again, just to provide different levels of interest. Materials, primarily brick, two colors of brick, kind of an orangish brown brick as well as a gray brick, lighter in color. We have three colors of exterior finish system that pick up on that grayer brick, kind of a light, medium, and dark. And then stone base is, again, kind of a lighter gray. And we have metal canopies that are articulating each of the entry points around the building and providing protection as well. The signage you'll see is on both facing Highway 37 as well as the parking, giving, drawing attention for each of those retailers. And again, just from a development standard standpoint, we have worked with staff to make sure everything is in compliance, from screening to landscaping, materials, and even secondary enclosures like the trash or dumpster areas. So with that, we're excited to hopefully get this project rolling here in the spring, and with any luck with timing, get it wrapped up by the end of year. So that's the direction we're heading, and if there's any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to do so.
Thanks for your presentation. Any questions from board members?
I think the only question I've got, obviously this building kind of departs from all of the other buildings along 37 with it, now with its back to 37 as opposed to the facing 37. Not necessarily opposed to that, because obviously with 37 being limited access. I guess my only concern is now that the back and its proximity to 37, all of your electrical switchgear, gas meters, all that stuff is going to be fairly visible along 37. If there's any consideration from the city on any screening of any of that from something other than landscaping.
Happy to open to anything that you mentioned. I think we've seen other businesses similar to this, whether it's a screening wall or even like a fence material. We've seen that. We've seen that closer to downtown if it's not landscaping that you're talking about. I know sometimes landscaping does hinder access for those utility companies, so we're aware of that as well. The one thing I think Christy touched on as well is working with them on trying to the best of our ability to provide additional transparency on this rear side. So I do give them credit for that, but any suggestions you have on utilities, I'm happy to take.
Okay, any concerns about that from anybody else?
I mean, I like your idea, Sean. The other thank you, Howard. The other question I had is on, I assume we're doing rooftop units?
Yes, we'll have rooftop units, and we do have roughly 4 foot of parapet.
Okay.
That should screen that from a direct on view.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is you don't want them hanging off the back end with parapets lower. That was my main thing, so as long as we're up
Yeah.
towards
No,
this
we've
parapet wall, we're gonna
provided
be fine.
that all the way around.
Yep, great.
Yeah, I think my only suggestion would be, as part of a condition of approval, would be to work with staff on some sort of screening other than landscaping for mechanical equipment on the backside of the building. Other than that, I like the design. When I first saw the packet come through, my initial reaction was, oh, it's facing the wrong way. But in reality, it's with the signage and everything facing 37, and having the front doors more facing towards the residential, the multifamily, where the townhomes are going to be coming, it provides a little bit nicer view for them, as they're not driving past the back of the building, they're driving past the front of the building. So I've come full circle on that, I guess, from that perspective. So I do like that. I just think that some screening on that backside would help just improve the building. That's it.
Thank you. Well, no other comments? Sean, would you like to make that motion with your conditions?
Make a motion to approve with the condition the petitioner work with staff on screening of the electrical and gas services on both sides.
I'll second.
In addition to whatever the other.
And staff, and
Well,
staff
staff
comments
recommendations.
intact.
Thank you. We have a motion by Sean and a second by Pete. Roll call, Kay, please.
Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Curran,
Yes.
Mr. Bender,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, the motion does carry. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is case number PUD-24-4, Allisonville Place Lot 4, a request to approve site plan and architecture for an approximately 5,700 square feet veterinarian office located at 10978 Allisonville Road, and we have Grace Wiley here to present on behalf of the staff.
Good evening. Grace Wiley, planner in the city's Planning and Zoning Department. The project before you tonight is a proposed commercial development located at 10978 Allisonville Road. The property is generally located at the southwest corner of Allisonville Road and Kendall Drive, a little bit south of 116th Street. The property is located in the Allisonville Place PUD, ordinance number 120406B. The surrounding properties are also located in the Allisonville Place PUD. The surrounding character is shown here, with a medical office to the south, a storage center to the west, and the property to the north is vacant. The site plan is shown here. The proposed building is approximately 5,700 square feet with 18 proposed parking spaces and will be divided into 2 different retail spaces. The PUD's architectural development standards are included in the staff report for this item and are shown here. Standards not met are highlighted in yellow. The PUD requires that buildings have residential style pitched roofs of 612. This roof is flat. However, staff believes that the proposed flat roof is adequate. Here are the proposed elevations. Materials include split face masonry veneer, brick veneer, and EIFS coping and trim. Here are renderings of the proposed building. As you can see, the roof parapet does not extend to all 4 sides. Staff recommends approval of the proposed elevations as presented with the following conditions. As staff discussed with the petitioner during the review process, the roof parapet shall be extended to wrap around the entirety of the building, and all TAC comments shall be addressed. Staff is available for questions. The petitioner will now give a brief presentation.
Thank you. We'll hear from the petitioner.
Good evening. My name's Adam Dehart. I'm project manager with Keeler Webb Associates. Our offices are located at 486 Gradle Drive, Carmel, Indiana. With me also this evening is Mr. Andrew Fuchs with Design and Construction, the developer and general contractor on this project. The building itself is being designed and built for Dr. Khan, who's going to move his veterinary hospital business into this facility. A new business here to the town of Fishers as he expands his work. As a vet clinic hospital, all of his work is a inpatient or outpatient basis. The vast majority, 99% of his patients are brought in the morning and go home that evening. As a general rule, they don't have overnight patients there, so that's not the type of operations that they do there. Those types of operations in severe cases are generally done at other facilities, and he doesn't take on that type of work. Just so you're familiar with their business. Because of the nature of his business, we do have a third entrance in the center of the building. He's going to own or occupy approximately 60% of the structure. This is a small site, only about a half an acre. As you can see, quite a lot of it has already been developed with the development of the Lot 5 structure, which is Indiana Maxillofacial Surgery Center also, working on humans as opposed to your pets. There's an existing drive aisle that comes across both the front and the rear of Lot 4. Oh, I don't get a cursor in here, so. We're going to add parking on both of those existing driveways to service our facility. We're going to add a new dumpster enclosure on the rear to take care of their waste. And then the landscaping, we're going to maintain the existing landscaping along Allisonville Road and landscaping that the adjoining property owner has installed along the property line in between the two buildings. There's some other bushes along the self-storage facility that we're going to continue to maintain and then supplement those to screen the trash dumpster facility. Existing tree along Kennel Drive that we're going to maintain, and then additional landscaping that we're going to add along Kennel Drive to be in compliance with the landscaping ordinance. We designed the lighting to be in compliance with the ordinance. There we go. This is an actual blow-up detail of the actual awning that we're going to install on the facility. Pardon me, this thing is extraordinarily sensitive. There we go. Front of the facility, we've articulated the front and the sides of the building, adding pilasters, and then broke up the facility, and it's basically four-sided architecture with concrete masonry units, split face on the base, the body of the building being of brick and cast stone and windows, and then the crown of the building would be ephes. With that, we'd be available for any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. Questions?
So on the parapet across the top, the staff was recommending extending that around the entire building. Was there issues from your all's end on that?
Yes, sir. There we go. Oh, I've been trying. The wheel is so sensitive, it just jumps all over the place. This is a single slope roof system that goes to the rear. We've designed the parapet around the three sides of the building that would face the public, whether the sides of the structure or the front of the structure. Because it's a single slope roof, installing a parapet on the rear side of the building would require scuppers, and it would cause moisture issues with the way we've designed the structure. This is a really small building. That side of the building faces self-storage units. The only people that would be on the rear of the structure would be staff that would park in the 4 or 5 parking spaces back there. We don't feel that the parapet would be warranted, and in fact, with the design of the structure, it'd cause moisture and drainage issues for us. And there was no rooftop equipment because it's all going to be behind the mechanical enclosure that you see here. So there's nothing to really see on that. So we've tried to design the facility to be as pleasing as possible, but the arbitrary installation of the parapet would cause drainage and moisture problems to the structure that we think are a problem that we just can't overcome.
Thank you. Other questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions, comments, and I think to reiterate the question about the parapet, I wouldn't say that it's not necessary. There will still be penetrations on the roof, roof vents and things like that, exhaust fans. So, the screening of that is part of the requirement, and yes, it's difficult to do it in some cases, but it can be achieved. The awnings over you've got awnings over the 3 back doors, and then you've got one awning over that kind of side front door. My suggestion would be to, at least on the front of the building where you've got the other windows, to match that with awnings there. The one awning over the front door seems out of place relative to the rest of the building when you look at it across the whole building. Any consideration or any provision for staff being able to take an animal out to relieve themselves? Is there a fenced area for them to be able to do that on the site?
No, there's not. With the way these operations work, it's not something that needs to be done.
Okay.
Many of the operations, if the animal is going to take care of itself, they'll put a catheter in the animal so it's not an issue.
Okay. Not something we typically find in the vet clinics that we design. So I'm just a little surprised to not see anything in that manner.
Thanks, Sean.
And then to answer your question about the awnings, we've stepped the building out so you can actually step within the building for the front entrances. The one entrance with the awning is for their emergency, for bringing the animals in that are probably going to be euthanized. So that's a special entrance, and it needed to look different than the other entrances for that service. In fact, there's a quiet room when they come into the building and in that entrance to take care of the family and the animal that's going to be euthanized. So they had to make it look different so they could direct people to a special door for that service.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Sean, is there anything from a motion standpoint on the awnings that you want?
Drew, can you turn your microphone on, please?
Sean, is there anything on the awnings that you want to include in the motion?
Yeah, I think I understand the comment about the door. And I think the two entries, the main entries, not having an awning over them makes sense because they are recessed. The 4 windows on the front, I think, should have something that helps tie them all together.
So I would make a motion that we approve with the conditions, including the parapet, per staff, and an additional condition to explore awnings across the front windows of the building.
Thank you. We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Regarding the parapet on the rear, I didn't see where that was included in the PUD requirements of this particular PUD.
To what?
Ross, can you help us with that?
Yeah, I think, from my understanding, at one point I thought the units were roof mounted. They are no longer roof mounted. I still believe if we look at that elevation that it looks incomplete. And so when we look at four-sided architecture, which is where we defer to you guys on that expertise, that is still our recommendation, that it does not meet the four-sided architecture aspect outside of it screening anything that's roof mounted.
I would agree with that.
Thank you. So motion and second still stands. Kay, roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Mr. Bender?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes, and the motion does carry. Thank you. Next agenda item, Ross, no River Place PUD Committee?
Nope, not tonight.
Do we have any staff communications today?
Yes, I know some of you were there, but today was the mayor's state of the city. So encourage, if you weren't there, to watch the recording on the city's YouTube page. A couple of main things that he brought up was the expanded restaurant and retail by BW, which will be near our event center, the continued investment of the life science companies in our community, an exciting announcement of a second agri-park on the west side, and then the thing that's blowing up our social media the most is a proposed second Target location off of exit 210. So like I said, if you weren't there today, I encourage you to watch his presentation. He went over a lot of things, the success of the community over the past 2 years. So like always, appreciate your assistance tonight.
Thank you. Seeing no other agenda items, we will consider ourselves adjourned. Good seeing everyone.